I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you I've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not hear me. No, we're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all. We should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back. Start it from scratch. I won't let you go. No, I can't let you go. 'Cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go. No, baby, I will not. Because I still believe. You're my gravity. You will never be what I expected. Different frequencies, that's why we ain't connected. You know I will make it through. I got nothing to lose but you. It's true you're so far away, and it's true I can feel the same. It's another day, you know you want me to stay, but I go my way. I won't let you go. No, I can't let you go. 'Cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go. No, baby, I will not. Because I still believe. You're my gravity. You're my gravity. You're calling on my name, but the echo numbs your pain. Sorry, but more than just a shadow, I'm more than just a man. You don't care how I feel, you don't know how I feel. No, you don't know how. I wash away the sorrow till my heart can beat again. You're my gravity. No, you're my gravity. I will let you go. The only thing that I know, you were my gravity, but now I have to leave. I will let you go. What do you think that I want? What do you think that I want? I know how to breathe into my gravity. 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 I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you I've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not hear me. No, we're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all. We should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back. Start it from scratch. I won't let you go. No, I can't let you go. 'Cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go. No, baby, I will not.
Warning. The Duracell Cup Series data file you have attempted to access is out of date. Uploading current file now.
It's a brand new car from stem to stern, and it's never been raced at these speeds.
The next gen car is opportunity.
Everything is different with the exception of like the seat, the steering wheel, and your helmet.
Unknown creates excitement.
Talking about my generation.
And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here as we get set to go racing to cap off our race weekend here from the Chicago Motor Speedway. This is race number 18 of the 8th season of the NNSCRA Duracell Next Gen Cup Series. Lights drivers had an incredible race here yesterday. Looking forward to our 8th trip here to this venue. This has been a track that has been on the Duracell Next Gen Cup Series schedule ever since the inception of the series, going all the way back to season 1. It has always brought about great racing. That's why it always comes back here on the schedule, and it plays a pivotal part as well in this portion of the season that I've now dubbed the push towards the playoffs. This is starting to near the midway portion of the segment, just after the All-Star break, just before the playoffs begin. Some challenging tracks coming up, and this is the third, not the last, this is the third straight mile racetrack that these next-gen drivers are going to have to deal with. We had Hillside 2 weeks ago. Last week we were at Iowa. Today we're at Chicago Motor Speedway. And next week, at least just the Cup drivers, they're going to the Northeast as they'll be at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. So they're definitely getting their mile racetrack experience in here in one big chunk of the schedule. That is for sure. In the last 2 weeks, we have seen a multi-time winner in Connor Breton and a first-time winner on the season in RJ Bishop. Both drivers coming into this race in current wildcard spots, according to the live playoff grid. But on the front row, a couple of drivers that also are trying to make some plans for the playoffs. James Qualls captures his first pole of the season. Qualls has been in the top 5 for most of the season overall. He has that victory at Indianapolis. Last week, a little bit of a slip at Iowa, drops him out of the top 5. He's 6th in points coming into this one, looking to get that momentum back at a track where track position is very important. We saw that yesterday in the Light Series race. Qualls starting on the pole, at least check that box there, starting with very good track position for this one. Alongside of him is Destin Bolin, and it's incredible because I was looking at Destin Bolin, his current position in points. Now, let's not forget, he's a 2-time winner. He won at Pocono, followed up with a win a few weeks later at Texas. So he got that out of the way. But the consistency, while the checkered flags were there, the consistency wasn't there. There was a point of the season we were talking about Destin Bolin. Yes, he was a multi-time winner, but he was struggling to stay in the top 30 in the point standings. Fast forward to now, after the All-Star break, this 0-2 team out of Young Motorsports has really found momentum, and they are putting it to good use. He has continually, each week, moved up in the point standings. He comes into this one in the second wildcard seed, yes, but he also is 15th in overall points. Mathematically, Destin Bolin, with a good run here today, could find himself inside of the top 10 in points, not even having to rely on those victories towards a wildcard spot, and putting them towards 10 valuable race win bonus points in the reformatted playoff standings. Summer Henson going to line up on the inside of row number 2. It's an all-female row 2. Henson, it's kind of a good story, bad story with Summer Henson coming to this one. The good story is she is currently in the thick of it for the rookie points battle. It's only 6 points separating our 4 full-time rookies from the points leader down to 4th. The bad news for Summer Henson is last week at Iowa was not good. Poor performance dropped her 8 spots in the standings. We've been talking week after week about Summer Henson just hovering between 10th to 15th in the point standings with a shot of moving up into the top 10 in the overall standings. Last week, dropped 8 spots from 14th to 22nd. So she is definitely going to be looking to get those points back. And you talk about drivers found some consistency. How about the defending champion, Jessica Shelton? Ever since we started this mile racetrack run, the finishes have definitely been there. The runner-up finish at Hillside. Another top 10 run last week at Iowa. She's starting to move her way up through the point standings, only by about 1 or 2 positions each week since she dug herself such a deep hole prior to the All-Star break. But let's go back to Season 7 when Jessica Shelton got that victory just before the All-Star break at Chicagoland. She followed it up with another victory during the second half of the regular season, was able to move into the top 30 in points, clinch a wild card spot, and then you guys know the rest of the story. End up picking up the victory and the championship at the finale at Michigan. There's plenty of time, plenty of opportunity, and the math checks out that Jessica Shelton, if she can get another victory or 2 here during this regular season before the playoffs, she could conceivably snipe another playoff position and be able to defend her title, looking to extend S3 Motorsports championship streak to 4 straight seasons. It's not out of the realm of possibility, and she's been really good at the mile racetracks, showing out here again in qualifying inside of the top 5. But we ended up seeing R.J. Bishop go to victory lane last week. We've been on a streak of a lot of different winners going to victory lane here during the course of the season. I believe we've only got 4 multi-time winners here on the season. No, correction, only 3. Nope, it is 4. I was right. 4 multi-time winners on the season, so that means we've had a total of 13 drivers go to victory lane so far in the first 17 races. We may end up getting a 14th one here today. Let's go down trackside. Let's get those most famous words in motorsports, and let's get ready to go racing here at the Chicago Motor Speedway.
Drivers, start your engines!
If I'm not mistaken, I believe we have 5 previous winners at this racetrack in the field today. We'll highlight them during the course of this race. Right side of your screen, you see your 42 car starting lineup as problems on the start for the 24 of Casey Hoyt, who was going to roll off the grid, I believe, in the 5th position. The struggles continue for last year's Rookie of the Year. Your playoff standings coming to this are as follows. Levi McIntyre still chasing that first victory. Holds 23 points over 3-time winner Carson Gum. Alexander Rowe, he is 3rd in points, 28 points out. Ryan Brommer, 32 points out in 4th. And Jack Mitchell moves up into the top 5 in the standings. He has 55 points out of the points lead. Pole sitter James Qualls is 6th. Eric Sadler moves back into the top 10. He's 7th. Also, Michael Norman moved back into the top 10 to 8th. Nick Gunther dropping to 9th after last week. And 2-time winner and our Daytona 500 winner, Matt Haas, moves back into the top 10 in the 10th position. Wildcard spots right now, 2-time winners Connor Breton and Dustin Bolin, 14th and 15th in overall points. 1-time winners R.J. Bishop, Keith Batson, and Daniel Voiles, who's back in the top 30. 16th final spot would go to the driver highest in points outside of the top 10 without a victory. That's Matt McIntyre, 11th in the overall standings. 100 laps here this afternoon at the Chicago Motor Speedway. We're green, and Qualls will lead us into turn number 1. They'll be fanning out double wide, 3 wide. Very spacious racetrack here at Chicago Motor Speedway. In the corners, not a lot of banking though. Only about 6 degrees of banking in the turns, 2 degrees of banking on the straightaway. 3 wide for the 2nd position. That's Matt McIntyre on the bottom. Summer Henson in the middle. Dustin Bolin on the top side as Qualls will lead lap number 1. Update on Casey Hoyt in the 24. He did return back to the racetrack, and I believe he is on the lead lap. So whatever the issue was, they remedied it quickly. Hoyt, not a lap down, still has a shot of working his way up through the field. But remember, he qualified this race in the 5th position, so that is a huge net loss in where he would have started this thing. As Summer Henson looking for the lead on Qualls. Side-by-side battle for the 2nd position. That is McIntyre and Dustin Bolin. Caution out for the first time this afternoon on lap number 3. might have been over in turn one. I feel like that's going to be a trouble spot here today, and I'll explain why in just a moment, as James Qualls is going to bring us back here to the yellow. Henson will cross the line second, then Bolin, Matt McIntyre, Nick Gunther going to complete the top 5, as you see some smoke lingering there on the entry to turn number 1. And it looks like it may have been 5th in the points, Jack Mitchell, who may have gone around here. Don't see really anybody with a lot of damage. There is some damage there on the 23, maybe on the left side of your screen, Nathan Ormond. But we may have had a relatively harmless spin bringing out this first yellow of the afternoon. Let's go back and take a look and see what happened here. Yesterday, we didn't see anybody have a whole lot of issue with braking, but we have to remember as well, in the Light Series race, they run CTS physics and they also run slightly lower speeds. With the next-gen car this season, the bigger wing on the back means more downforce, more speed into the entry of a corner. It's going to take a lot longer for that car to slow, especially, as we mentioned, with the heavy braking zones here. And, well, this didn't have anything to do with braking zones. This had to do with Kyle Matthews coming down and running Jack Mitchell out of room. Mitchell goes up and gets the outside wall. Kyle Matthews with a little bit of damage as well. I don't think Kyle knew that Jack had him 3 wide. Kyle Matthews in that beautiful debuting paint scheme, the mellow yellow 90s look on his Chevrolet Camaro. And yeah, I don't think he knew that Jack Mitchell was there. Maybe some miscommunication from the spotter. And actually both Matthews and Mitchell go up and get the outside wall there. Doesn't look like either one sustained all that much damage. They should be able to continue on, and I would be shocked if they're off the pace. Everybody's coming down pit road. Now, we don't know the fuel window for these drivers here, with it being PTA physics. We know that it was at least a one-stop race they had to make yesterday in the Light Series race. So we might be potentially looking at a 2-stopper here. This caution might have been exactly what these drivers needed to be able to now make it one stop. Gas and go, no tires whatsoever, for at least it looked like the top 2, top 3. As Qualls down and away just ahead of Summer Henson, so he will maintain the race lead as everybody was on pit road. Nobody stayed out here under this yellow. Looks like Dustin Bolin came off pit road in the 3rd position. And what was a double file start will now be a single file restart coming up. I mentioned about the fact that this racetrack has been on the schedule ever since season 1. And we have either 4 or 5 different race winners that are in the field here, previous winners from this racetrack, including the driver that took the checkered flag here, or took the checkered flag 1 week ago at Iowa, that being R.J. Bishop. Other former winners include Jesse Turner. Checking down the list here real quickly of who else there was. I know there were at least 2 others in the field that were former winners at this racetrack. Nathan Ormond was one of them. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Dylan Young was also a former winner here. Double check on that. Yep, R.J. Bishop was the winner of this race back in Season 6. Season 7 was Jesse Turner. Mentioned both of them. Season 5 was Roberto Crown Jr. Wish I actually had that stat for yesterday. He did not run well here in the Lights race. Season 4 was Nathan Ormond. Already mentioned his name. As we're getting ready to go back green, we'll look through the rest of these previous winners here as Qualls gets ready to get us back under the green. Dylan Young was the winner of this back in Season 2, or Season 3 rather. Season 2 winner was Matt Haas, so another former winner there. And the inaugural winner of this race back in Season 1 actually failed to qualify for this race in pole day qualifying yesterday. That was the driver that's tied for the most wins overall in Duracell Next Gen Cup Series history, Jose Mills. James Qualls pulling away from second place battle. I just noticed the 28 of Caleb Fogler on pit road. Obviously, unscheduled pit stop for him. We'll follow up on what's ailing the former champion out of Blue Oval Automotive. As his teammate, Zachary Fitzwater, looks like he's moving to the inside of Matt McIntyre. That would be to move to 6th. McIntyre will drop back to 8th as Eric Monaco will also make his way around. 28 of Caleb Fogler now rolling off of pit road, but he will lose at least a lap, potentially 2. His other 2 teammates running very well, though. Fitzwater up to 6th, and Benjamin Snyder now looking for the 8th position off of Matt McIntyre, down the back straightaway headed for 3. Matt McIntyre trying to make his way back into the top 10 in points, 11th in the overall standings coming to this one, as Monaco now looks to the bottom on Fitzwater. That will be for 6th. A couple of Dark Horse Mustangs duking it out there, one out of Lake Effect Autosport, the other out of Blue Oval Automotive. A couple of teams that have formerly won here at this racetrack, courtesy of Jose Mills and Jesse Turner, and Monaco will complete that pass. Now moves up into the 6th position, second highest rookie on the grid right now. Another rookie making some moves back here, that is just inside the top 10. Daniel Bouchard out of Michael Norman Motorsports, looking low on Austin LaPlante. That would be, I believe, for the 9th position. Another rookie right behind them in Kyle Langland. A lot of drivers this week pulled the double, running both the Lights race and the Cup race. Kyle Langland, Daniel Voiles, Anthony McCrory, Jack Mitchell, Dylan Young, all getting valuable experience here for this Cup race as well. Autumn Brooks also is running the double. 3rd place, RJ Bishop, looking for 2 wins in a row off the heels of his victory last week at Iowa. RJ, with that victory, moved up to 17th in points, jumping 9 spots in the standings. He didn't move the most spots in points last week, surprisingly enough, though, as that actually was 10 positions gained by Caleb Fogler, jumping from 33rd to 23rd, maybe giving those points back as he's currently 2 laps down. Last car currently running after that unscheduled pit stop right after we went green. RJ right now with that victory moved into the 3rd wildcard spot as far as the playoffs are concerned. He is a total of 25 points out of the top 10 in overall standing. So he mathematically could work his way into the top 10 in points and get a points-paying playoff position. James Qualls, that good starting track position, he's putting it to good use. He's also running a slightly different line through 3 and 4 than Destin Bolin is, running a lot higher on the racetrack. Destin running about a groove and a half lower, and now a slightly different entry there into turn 1 for the 0-2. I think both of these drivers are kind of searching for some grip, searching for the best line. Qualls trying to find the best line to pull away from Bolin. Bolin trying to find the best line to close the gap up, as he'll run really wide this time through 3 and 4. We'll drop back to the battle for 3rd. Monaco is on the move. He got around Bishop for 4th. He's looking for 3rd on Summer Henson. Remember, we saw during the course of yesterday's Light Series race, drivers that were good on the long run were the ones that benefited the most. It looked like out of the gate, Sean Galligan had the best long run car, and then midway through, Nathan Stapleton showed up and was able to pick up his first career victory in Light Series competition. Well, Eric Monaco is the defending Light Series champion, and he's still looking for his first career win in the Cup Series after joining Lake Effect Autosport. Could this race be the race? Monaco comes into this one 20th in the standings. Had a great run last week at Iowa, moving up 5 spots. So he's another driver that really seems to like the shorter, flatter tracks, which, let's be honest, made up a good portion of the Light Series schedule last season. Short tracks and flat ovals. So this is kind of right within his wheelhouse. As we'll move back up to the front, looks like the battle for the lead could be closing up. It was about 6-7 car lengths. It's now been cut down to nearly 3, as we do have traffic up ahead for the leaders they'll have to deal with. I believe that's Caleb Fogler. who is up to speed. We've not yet been able to establish what the issue was that drew them to pit road, has them multiple laps down, but it looks like Qualls is going to put him in the rearview mirror very quickly. And that 28 actually does appear to be somewhat off the pace. I thought he was potentially up to speed. He might be down a cylinder, could be a voltage problem. I don't know if they had the hood up on that car when he was on pit road or not, but he'll now fall a third lap down to leader James Qualls. Well, we've been talking about it all week. The Duracell Ultra Light Series drivers, after their race yesterday, they're going to be off for 3 weeks. It'll be just the Cup Series drivers here for the next couple of weeks solo, as next week we mentioned we'll be at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, the Magic Mile, to cap off the quadfecta of mile racetracks here at this portion of the schedule. And then you talk about a zany, wacky, unpredictable race. It's the debuting road course, Donkey Kong Jungle Raceway, is where these Cup Series drivers will be in 2 weeks' time. That one is going to be interesting. And then the Lights drivers will rejoin the Cup drivers in 3 weeks, when we'll be getting back to a more traditional mile-and-a-half racetrack in the Bluegrass State at the Kentucky Speedway. Drivers making their way around that wounded machine of Caleb Fogler. Henson still holding the third spot with R.J. Bishop fourth. Nick Gunther, another consistent run in fifth, but he's under fire from Monaco. Monaco may have used up his stuff there. I thought he had a good long-run car, but he's now been re-bypassed by Henson, Bishop, and Gunther, and now Fitzwater will work his way by as well. I feel like we haven't talked about Zachary Fitzwater hardly at all this season, at least not in the recent memory in the previous races in the last few weeks. This is a great job, a great showing for that number 83 out of Blue Oval Automotive. Made the jump over to the organization here this season, and it has been a bit of a struggle. I mean, he's 21st in points, so he hasn't had an absolutely horrendous season, but you look at the statistics coming into this race, no wins, no top fives. There's like a half dozen drivers that still haven't scored a top five this season, 4 top tens, and an average finishing position of 21st. I think the most telling statistic out of all that is his starting position average, 21st. So he's pretty much started where he's finished for most of the season so far. Has not had the benefit of good starting track position to make anything of it. He's got good track position here today, and we'll see what he is able to do with it, as right now he's inside the top 10 in a good battle for 6th with rookie Eric Monaco. And there's Anthony McCrory behind them in the 61. Anthony was behind the wheel of the Garage 55 All-Star car here yesterday in the Light Series race. Qualified on the pole, ran well the entirety of the day, and looks like those extra laps paying dividends here, as he's now up inside of the top 10, 8th position for that Mazda. As a matter of fact, 2 of the 3 Mazdas up here inside of the top 10, with Gunther currently holding down the 5th position. The other Mazda, that being Autumn Brooks, is currently in the 18th position. One of the 2 drivers that qualified in via Go or Go Home qualifying yesterday, the other one being Kyle Langland, who is making his 4th start of the season. Autumn Brooks is making her, I believe, 12th? No, 11th. McCrory's on the move. He got around Fitzwater. Now he's going after his teammate Gunther. Bishop got around Summer Henson. Monaco will look to do the same, and now he'll look for Bishop for the 3rd position. This all taking place nearly 4 seconds behind the battle for the race lead, which currently right now is about 7/10 of a second difference from Qualls back to Destin Bolin. So these drivers right now, they either need to get clear of the traffic around them, try and run down the top 2, or they need a yellow flag to be able to bunch them all back up. We had that early yellow back on lap 3. Since then, we have been green flag racing. As a matter of fact, looking at the drivers that got involved in that wreck, that being Jack Mitchell and Kyle Matthews. Matthews has not made any forward progress. He's still in the 38th position, but Jack Mitchell has been able to work his way up to 30th. So, obviously that's a fast race car, but he's mired back in traffic. Let's take a look at the rear of the field, see about some of the drivers that are actually struggling here in this one. Joshua Osborne right now is the last car on the lead lap in the 41st position. Osborne coming into this one in the... well, I did have him on the list here, and then I just lost his name. There he is, 12th in the point standings. I was going to say, I thought he was up there inside the top 15. Moved up 5 spots in the standings after last week, but he may be giving a lot of those positions back. We just mentioned about Matt Haas working his way back up into the top 10 in points after last week. 2-time winner on the season, both his victories at super speedways, but not doing well here this afternoon, back in the 40th position. And 3-time winner Carson Gum, second in the point standings, currently in the 38th spot. So a number of drivers that had some good momentum coming into this week at the tail end of the field as things currently run. And Matt McIntyre, who had a great qualifying effort, so too did Eric Sadler, Jessica Shelton. They're all back here, 33rd, 34th, 35th last time by. Might have been the fact that a lot of them started on the outside of their respective rows, so they weren't able to get to the bottom, but they've lost a ton of track position. And that caution really saved Casey Hoyt. Now he's back here in 35th, however, he ended up not rolling off the grid, had to teleport to pit road. Left pit road right behind the field when they went green. Caution allowed him to be able to stay with the field. He's been able to make some forward progress from where he was prior to that caution coming out, but another driver that lost a ton of good starting track position after he qualified 5th here yesterday. Dylan Young, we mentioned he was one of the drivers that took part in the lights race here yesterday afternoon. He didn't run well in that race, and it's translated over to here. Former winner at this racetrack, but not performing well this afternoon. And Connor Breton, 2-time winner on the season, most recently winning a couple of weeks ago at Hillside. He's back here outside of the top 30 also. Keith Batson, who right now is in the 4th wildcard spot. But we have to bear in mind for Keith Batson and Daniel Voiles, who are in the 4th and 5th wildcard spots respectively, they are also 27th and 28th in points, which means they are hovering right around that dangerous 30th in the standings cut line. If they drop underneath that, their victories do not count towards a spot in the playoffs. Daniel Voiles just recently, last week, jumped up 7 spots out of the top 30 into the 28th position. But Keith Batson, right now, outside of the top 25, could be in danger of falling out of the top 30 heading into next week. Points leader Levi McIntyre right now in the 23rd spot, so a lot of your drivers up there at the top of the point standings appear to not be running all that well this afternoon. There's Daniel Voiles. I was thinking we hadn't seen him yet. He's now into the top 10 in 8th, so looks like he's going to continue, at least for the time being, the climb in the point standings away from that 30th standings cut line, our Sonoma winner. There's a former champion in Charles Samper right now having a great run. 7th position for the Reese's Chevrolet. Charles also had a good run last week at Iowa, moving up 4 spots in the standings from 36th to 32nd. So we're starting to see a bunch of drivers start to build some good momentum as 3rd place Eric Monaco makes his way back around Caleb Fogler once again. Battle for the lead is on. Destin Bolin has finally caught James Qualls, looks to pass him, and he will not quite have him cleared down here into turn 1. Qualls going to drive it deep there on the line. That dark gray looks to get the run off the corner. Won't be able to do it. Lead change for the first time this afternoon. After leading the first 38 laps, Dustin Bolin takes the lead from pole sitter James Qualls. Dustin Bolin looking for his 3rd win on the season. Looking to join Carson Gum for most wins here in Season 8. And looking to win at what would be his 3rd different track configuration this season. He's got a 1.5 mile win at Texas. He's got a 2.5-mile win at the Tricky Triangle of Pocono, and now looking to add a mile racetrack to his resume. As these two were battling as well, I did notice that the interval back to third place shrunk. Eric Monaco, Nick Gunther, Anthony McCurry are starting to close in on those top two, especially when they were side by side. Another interesting point of note, when we talked about yesterday the tire fall off for the lights drivers, we were talking upwards of a second, second and a half, maybe even 2 seconds of tire fall off. We're about 40 laps into this run, and we've only hit about half a second of fall off. 0.7 at the most. Jack Mitchell just left pit road. Now, let me double check. Yeah, Mitchell actually did come to pit road, as did everybody else under that first yellow. He just made a pit stop right there, which I would have to assume is a regularly scheduled pit stop. Might begin the cycle of green flag pit stops here. I don't believe this was unscheduled for the 0-1. We're nearing the halfway point here, and if we're going to start making pit stops now, they may have to make 2 pit stops before the conclusion of this race. Mitchell lost 2 laps, though. Granted, he was back in, I think, the 30th position when he pitted. So he would have lost a lap very quickly coming down pit road, might have lost another one while getting his service, and he may lose another lap here. So if we end up seeing other drivers dive onto pit road here in the next 5 to 10 laps, then I will assume this is a scheduled pit stop. If not, this may have been an unscheduled pit stop for the McDonald's Chevrolet out of Adrenaline Motorsports. Destin Bolin gets around Mitchell, putting him a 3rd lap down. Qualls will now complete the pass as well down the front straightaway. Let's drop back to 3rd place once again as Anthony McCurry continues to pick up spots. This time moves to 4th against his teammate Nick Gunther, setting his sights on Eric Monaco for the 3rd position. Well, as Anthony begins that hunt, we're almost rubbing doors back here now for the 5th spot. Charles Sanford looking for the position on Nick Gunther. Daniel Voiles looking on. Gunther will clear for the spot. Let's take a lap or two around this racetrack, courtesy of the Celsius Mazda of Anthony McCurry. Great battle there on board with the 61. That's side by side with him and Eric Monaco, as we've got Benjamin Snyder on pit road in the 38. Matt McIntyre just went a lap down to the race leaders, as Voiles will move by for the 5th position on Nick Gunther. There's Matt McIntyre. Not been a good start to his race, obviously. Driver that's trying to point his way back up into the top 10. Now the first car 1 lap down in the 39th position. Benjamin Snyder has returned to the racetrack, currently scored 1 lap down. Again, not sure if a lot of these pit stops here are regularly scheduled or not. We've not seen our leaders make any dip onto pit road, however, so... there's Ryan Brommer on pit road, though, in the 87, our winner from Charlotte, so maybe we are starting to get into some regularly scheduled green flag pit stops. Yep, some more on pit road. I think I just saw Jesse Turner, Kyler Sustre, Matt McIntyre was coming down this lap. just past the halfway point here, which is interesting because everybody came down pit road under the caution at lap 3. So does that mean that we potentially could be a few laps short of making it the scheduled distance, or is the window open to be able to make it the rest of the way, as McCrory will finally clear Monaco for that third spot? It was interesting as we were doing that onboard with Anthony. I took the opportunity to bring up the all-times wins list. Destin Bolin in the lead, James Qualls in second, both looking for their 6th career victory here in the Duracell Next Gen Cup Series. Both with 5 wins each, as Benjamin Miles on the pit lane now. Here come some of our leaders in. That's 5th, 6th, and 7th. Voiles, Gunther, and Sanford. Cole Deaver, who is up in the top 15, also on pit road. Looks like Dylan Poteet's coming in. Batson, Quentin Moore. Kyle Matthews in this lap. Here comes the race leader, Destin Bolin, coming in a lap sooner than James Qualls. RJ Bishop, last week's winner, also in this lap. And it looked like that was the 93 of Kyle Langland, also hitting pit road. So race lead comes back to James Qualls, who now he will make his way onto pit road. Very unique, this racetrack, in the fact that you've got cars merging off of turn 1, cars merging into turn 3 for those leaving or entering pit road. Anthony McCurry coming in. Got to have good communication because we've seen drivers' paths intersect on the back straightaway before. Summer Henson is also in. I believe that was Nathan Ormond further back there, and Zachary Fitzwater. Eric Monaco in the 45, I believe, stayed out an extra lap. And he'll come to pit road this time, so a bonus point for the rookie. We'll wait to see how this all cycles around. I would assume Destin Bolin will have the race lead when all is said and done, having that 1 lap fresher tire advantage over Qualls, at least on the out lap. And there is Destin, just now unlapping himself. And he is going to, it looks like, swing around Qualls, so he will more than likely take the lead back. Qualls is going to have the 19 of Carson Gum, it looks like, in front of him, between him and Destin Bolin, as Carson drives it deep there, trying to get his lap back. He'd currently be a lap down to Destin Bolin when we cycle the pit stops completely. That looks like right there the lead exchanged with Monaco coming off of pit road. So Destin Bolin should go to the lead. Qualls into second. I believe that this will be the battle for third between Monaco and Voiles, with Anthony McCrory cycling into 5th. And Voiles is going to take that third spot. Qualls going to have some traffic to deal with before he can try and even think about getting up there to Destin Bolin. He's got the lap cars of Carson Gum and Matt McIntyre between himself and the race leader. And again, the timing of this pit stop is very interesting because we went back green, I think it was on lap 5. Most of these pit stops were around an average of lap 55. So that'd be with about a 50-lap window. So theoretically, we should be able to make it the rest of the way, but depending on the fuel consumption here, we could end up seeing some drivers not be able to make it in the final 5 laps. So I think you're going to see a lot of drivers pace back down a little bit here on this run, try and save some fuel to make sure you can absolutely get to the checkered flag, as we are just past halfway, closing in on 40 laps remaining. So Qualls cycles out to second, Voiles into third, Eric Monaco will be 4th, Anthony McCurry just lost 5th to Charles Sanford. McCurry will fall back to 6th. 7th place, RJ Bishop. Summer Henson in 8th. 9th place is going to be Nathan Ormond, and your top 10 completed by the rookie Kyle Langland. Biggest loser on that round of pit stops would probably have to be Nick Gunther, who is now back in the 14th position. Ryan Brommer was one of the early ones onto pit road, so if there's a question mark on being able to make it on fuel, he would fall into that category. Same for Benjamin Snyder, They were some of the drivers that were the first ones on pit lane, taking advantage of the fresh tires. It gained them track position as they're now battling for 13th, 14th spot. Actually, I believe this is actually for 12th position. Yeah, 12th and 13th. And Brommer will pick up that spot from Benjamin Snyder. Ryan, actually, that previous lap ran his fastest lap of the race on those fresh Goodyears. A couple of teams really showing out here this afternoon. World NOS Racing looking really good. So we got a car coming to pit road. I think that might have been Caleb Fogler. Yeah, he's off sequence from everybody else. World NOS Racing with Daniel Voiles, Kyle Langland, both up inside of the top 10. Blue Oval Automotive, despite the fact we just saw Fogler has had some struggles today. The other two drivers, Zachary Fitzwater, Benjamin Snyder, have looked really good. And Daniel Voiles, this is the battle for second, going to make his way around the pole sitter. Qualls will drop back to third, and now Voiles will look to be the car to hunt down Destin Bolin, who's starting to deal with a lot of traffic. He just got around Jack Mitchell. He's got Joshua Osborne just ahead. It was the last car on the lead lap in the 38th spot right now. About 3 lap cars that Voiles is going to have to deal with before he gets up here to Destin Bolin. He's already put one in the rearview mirror, that being Matt McIntyre. Jack Mitchell next on the hit list, then Carson Gum. Daniel Voiles trying to make his way up here, become the 5th multi-time winner on the season, joining Carson Gum, Matt Haas, Connor Breton, and Destin Bolin. More importantly, a second victory could really help Daniel Voiles. It would skyrocket him up into a high-seeded wildcard position for next week. And as we already mentioned, after making his way back into the top 30, would give him a nice cushion to that 30th in the standings cut line. Voiles to the inside of Mitchell. Looks like he's going to make pretty quick work of that Chevrolet, and now only one car left to deal with between him and the race leader, who does not appear to have a race car strong enough to get around Joshua Osborne. Granted, Osborne is on the tail end of the lead lap, but he is up to speed as well. So it's not going to be an easy pass for the Frosted Flakes Ford Mustang. Then again, as well, as I mentioned, maybe Destin doesn't want to pass him. Maybe he's right now content to ride behind the 27, save a little bit of fuel if these drivers indeed are that close to not making it the rest of the distance. It's interesting, you take a look at our running order, and you got to go all the way back to 7th place to find a former Chicago Motor Speedway winner in R.J. Bishop. Nathan Ormond in the 9th spot. They're the only 2 former winners that are anywhere up inside of the top 10. You got to go all the way back to Jesse Turner to find another one. He's back in 16th. Looks like Dylan Young is mired back in 29th. And where in the world is the other former winner, that being Matt Haas? He is right now tail end of lead lap 36. He's actually just the next car up ahead of Destin Bolin, right in front of Joshua Osborne. Well, actually, no, that's not correct. I think he actually might have just picked up a spot. Yeah, he got around Kyle Matthews, actually. Caution's out! And that's going to save a bunch of these drivers. Osborne going to breathe a sigh of relief, as will Matthews and others. Caution, oh, there's trouble on the back straightaway! Look out! That's Shelton and Poteet. And hopefully everybody got through that. I'm having hillside flashbacks. Alright, looks like we're good. Dylan Young was also around there on the back straightaway. There he is. We've got Dylan Poteet on pit road, Laura Chung on pit road. Caution's going to wave. I think Shelton lost a lap because of that. And we're going to get ourselves a restart with less than 30 to go. Second caution of the afternoon here, past the halfway point. If these drivers were close on fuel, now this is the caution that they needed. They can either come down pit road and top off, or they can clutch here under these pacing laps. But let's take a look and see what happened. I thought we were going to see the leaders get caught up in that, much like what happened to Cody Lamas a couple of weeks ago at Hillside. after his dominating performance. What happens? Looks like it starts way up middle of the field. Oh, an engine expiration for Laura Chung that just gets even worse when they get over to turn 2. This is going into turn 1. Laura Chung was running in the 21st position. You'll see right here as she's midway through the corner, there's the smoke erupting, and I think she's trying to get her car to the low side. Alexander Rowe going to get into her, and then the track is blocked up completely right here. Dylan Pote, big hit. Dylan Young as well. Jessica Shelton gets on the brakes and avoids. Cody Lamas also got a piece of it, and then there's your leaders going on through. Somehow, some way, they were not involved. There was just enough of a lane available. Take a look at this hit here for Poteet. Nowhere to go as the 77's back end is out in the racing line. What a shot. Dylan Young nowhere to go, and then Shelton, little tap there to Poteet. Cody Lamas with some damage, and there is Destin Bolin just squeaking through. Let's go on board with the 02 car and see what he saw, as this could have very easily been race over for one of the two dominant cars of the day. We'll take it all the way back here in the middle of 1 and 2. Just enough of a lane to be able to clear. The tough break there for Jessica Shelton is she had to come to a stop waiting for Dylan Poteet's car to teleport back to pit road, and I believe she lost a lap in the process. We've also had an issue for one of our former winners. I believe we've had another engine expire. This time it's the 39 of Keith Batson. And this was under pacing on the back straightaway. Batson, former winner this season. And there you see it. We talked about the fact that he's in a precarious spot, 27th in points coming into this one. He only had a, 15-point cushion, I believe, between himself and 30th in the standings. And he's going to be done for the day. Looks like he will finish more than likely in the 40th position as two drivers out of the race due to that crash, Laura Chung and Dylan Poteet. Going to have some lap machines on the inside line here. Carson Gum, Caleb Fogler, Matt McIntyre, Jessica Shelton, and Dylan Young. Your top 10 as we get ready to go back green, nearing 25 laps to go. Destin Bolin, the leader. Daniel Voyle, second. James Qualls, third. Charles Sanford, fourth. Eric Monaco, fifth. Then it's Anthony McCurry, R.J. Bishop, Summer, Henson, Nathan Norman, Zachary Fitzwater, your top 10. James Qualls has led the most laps, 39 circuits out in front. Destin Bolin about to lead his 33rd lap. Eric Monaco has led 2 laps, and that's been it of the race leaders so far here this afternoon. 26 laps remaining as Destin Bolin, great jump, great launch there through the restart zone. Will be clear of Carson Gum heading down into turn 1. Battle going to be for second as Qualls gets to the inside of Voiles through 1 and 2. Voiles cleared him for the moment down the back straightaway. Qualls drives it in deep here into 3. Not going to be able to get the exit off the corner that he wants, so Voiles will clear for second. Qualls back to third. Smoke here in turn 1, and caution is back out. May have had a wreck on the restart here, as I'm getting a report it might have potentially been our points leader, Levi McIntyre. Now Carson was trying to get his lap back there from Destin Bolin. That caution coming out a little too soon for him. Let's see what brought this yellow flag out. We'll focus on the 99, see if the information I've received is correct. And it was not the 99 that brought the yellow out. Happens around the 3 of Cole Deaver, it looks like. Oh, they just stacked up again. Oh, wow! Massive stack up. Reggie Fogelman, Benjamin Miles are around, Michael Norman as well. They started fanning out there, 3 wide, 4 wide, and some drivers lifted a lot more than others, and they all just converged. Take another look here. You just see them all stacking in. Autumn Brooks has got a lot of damage. Alexander Rowe. See if we can get a farther out shot of what happened there. Yeah, up ahead there, is that Mitchell, Kyle Langland, around that area? They all just started slowing a ton, adhering to the braking zone of the drivers in front of them, and drivers further back wanted to drive deeper into the corner, and they all ended up stacking up, leading to that big wreck. Now, as mentioned, that did not involve our points leader, Levi McIntyre. We're being told the 99 is back behind the wall. This was, I believe, just after that caution came out. And Levi just pulled into his stall, and then they pushed him back to the garage area. And I don't know how to necessarily dissect this information, but we're being told a tire problem. The reason that Levi McIntyre is out of this race. He'll be the 4th driver not to reach the conclusion, joining Keith Batson, Laura Chung, and Dylan Poteet. That's the 3rd driver out of the race due to a mechanical problem. Engine failures for both Keith Batson and Laura Chung. A tire issue for Levi McIntyre, and Poteet out due to crash damage. So that is going to leave us with 37 drivers running. 32 of them currently on the lead lap. A bunch of drivers on pit road to repair crash damage, including Reggie Fogelman, Benjamin Miles, Cole Deaver, and Michael Norman. 1 to green signal with the lights out on the Ford pace truck. And we will get ready to go back green here with, it looks like it'll be 21 laps to go. No real change amongst the top 10, as we only got about maybe half a lap of green flag racing right there before the caution flew once again. 3rd yellow of the afternoon. Interesting point of note, I believe that on that previous restart, we ended up having our fastest lap of the race set. Before that, Dustin Bolin, who has led the last 37 laps, had the fastest circuit, but Kyle Langland has bettered that. He's got the fastest lap at a 26.962, equating to about 142.6 miles per hour. Langland in his 4th start of the season, currently going to restart in the 10th position. Green flag back in the air. Hopefully this time we don't have a massive stack up into turn 1. Get back into a long green flag run like we had at the beginning of this race, crossing into halfway. So far so good as Bolin clears Carson Gum. Daniel Voiles having some difficulty with the lap traffic here. Matt McIntyre going to make his way on by. Jessica Shelton looking to do the same. Battle will be for 3rd. Charles Sanford looking to the inside of Eric Monaco, who almost cut him off there going into the 1st corner. Sanford forces his way in. RJ Bishop now battling for the 4th spot with James Qualls behind this. Shelton going to play a pick for our S3 Motorsports teammate, and Sanford will move into P3. Now he sets his sights on Daniel Voiles for the 2nd spot. Bishop looking for back-to-back top 5 runs as he'll now crack the top 5, getting by James Qualls, who drives right up on his right rear quarter panel there into the entrance of turn number 1. Dustin Bolin trying to run away from Daniel Voiles and Charles Sanford, who still have a couple of lap machines that they have to deal with. Unscheduled pit stop for the 87 of Ryan Brommer, our Charlotte winner, and caution is out. Yellow flag out for the 4th time this afternoon. More smoke lingering in turn number 1. So that was going to be the trouble spot here this afternoon. That is proving to be the case. As we'll be getting ourselves another restart, this time closing in on 15 laps to go. And a couple of drivers on pit road with already crash damage sustained. Cody Lamas, Michael Norman, Autumn Brooks. I don't know if any of those drivers were involved in this most recent yellow or not. We'll take a look and find out. And the answer to that would be yes. Benjamin Miles getting into the left rear quarter panel of Brooks, and then Brooks, after contact from Cody Lamas, up and over, nowhere for Michael Norman to go. I almost think, you see how the hoods have been taken off of these race cars? They almost look like modifieds. I think that the sheet metal hooked on both Autumn Brooks and Cody Lamas. Let's watch this again. Take a look and watch how the 84, when he gets in, look how they're, right there, their sheet metal, I think, actually connected. And Autumn actually ends up upside down, having to call the teleport back to pit road. One last look at it. Yeah, Benjamin Miles just runs over Autumn Brooks. And nowhere for Michael Norman to go. 3 drivers that already had massive front end damage involved in this one here. Just under 20 laps to go. That wreck is going to take Cody Lamas out of this race. Looks like Autumn Brooks is also heading back to the garage area. So the bad luck continues for the 84 car out of Lama Racing. Autumn Brooks, her 11th start on the season, not going to end the way that she was hoping. And we're going to get ourselves a restart with less than 15 to go. As this next time by, it will be 15 laps remaining. We might get the lights out in the pace car. It will be with more than 10 laps to go, so lap cars will be to the inside once again. And Destin Boland's been really good in these last couple of restarts, getting ahead of the lap cars and using them really as some security in the gap between himself and second place on back. Daniel Voiles in that 2nd spot. Charles Sanford, we saw him work his way up to 3rd. Eric Monaco now in 4th, and R.J. Bishop completing the top 5. Looks like 6th position will be Summer Henson, James Quall 7th, Anthony McCurry in 8th, Kyle Langland 9th, and Jesse Turner has now broken into the top 10. Looks like lights will indeed go out, so it will be 14 laps to go on this upcoming restart. We had an early caution back on lap 3, then we ran green for about 50 laps. Caution came out, and we've been pacing ever since. 4 cautions so far here this afternoon for a total of 18 laps. We currently have a total of 36 drivers still running, 28 of them on the lead lap. Destin Boland has now led the most laps, 44 circuits out in front. James Qualls has led 39 laps after starting on the pole. Eric Monaco led 2 laps during the cycle of green flag pit stops. That's it for the laps leaders so far here this afternoon. Destin Boland looks like he is in line, even if he doesn't win this race, to get the bonus point for most laps led here this afternoon. But he'd love to lead the last lap, pick up his 3rd win of the season to tie the driver that starts to his left, Carson Gum, for most wins here in Season 8. Not as good a restart this time for Destin Boland. Carson Gum stayed with him. And Carson's trying to get that lap back the hard way here. Trying to get around the 0-2. Keep an eye on the inside line further back. Does anybody get down there with the possibility of challenging Destin Boland for this lead, as he is still trapped on the outside line? Carson Gum looks to get his lap back. He will do so. Caution's out, though. And Carson, I think, did get to the line ahead of the 0-2. So he will actually be on the tail end of the lead lap here on the upcoming restart. Great job there by Carson Gum. We'll wait to see if he's able to make forward progress with only a limited number of laps left to go here. This restart will have a single file restart with the lap cars intermingled with the lead lap cars, so there'll be 2 lap down cars between Destin Bolin and now new second place driver Eric Monaco, who managed to get down to the inside line there, and I thought might be someone to challenge Bolin for the lead if we had stayed green. Voiles, Sanford, and Bishop could be the top 5, as looks like turn 1 was the trouble spot once again. And it could be a who's who of who was involved in this one, bringing out the 5th caution of the afternoon. Let's go back and see if we can find out who exactly it was. Looks like maybe it started around 3rd in points Alexander Rowe, who was in the 18th position at the time. Yeah, he's going to get hit by Joshua Osborne. Meanwhile, Nick Gunther got into Connor Breton as well. '55 and Nick Gunther, who's had a very good, consistent season. 9th in points. Just catches the right rear there of Breton and then gets clipped by Alexander Rowe. Some pretty good contact with the right front and to the outside wall for the 55 car. Another mechanical failure here in this race as well, I'm being told. The 4 of Kyler Sustre, the latest victim. And I believe this was just after they had taken the caution. They were heading down the back straightaway for turn 3. They were all getting their positions out of turn 2, and right about here, start to see smoke billowing from out from underneath that Toyota Camry. So I believe that that is 2 Camrys, 1 Ford that have had mechanical problems here this afternoon. And unfortunately for Sustre, he was in the 14th position, en route for a good run, a top 15. And just like that, it will come to an early end. So we will indeed get a restart with less than 10 to go, so it will be a single file restart. There will be no lap machines on the inside line any longer, which means that Matt McIntyre, Jessica Shelton, actually both Matt and Jess, 1 lap down each, will be between Destin Bolin and the second place driver of Eric Monaco. Daniel Voiles, Charles Sanford, RJ Bishop, James Quall, Summer Henson, they're all lined up nose to tail, so the battle might be for second place here if Destin Bolin is able to run away and still keep those lap machines between himself and the rest of the competition. It's going to be 9 laps to go when we go back green. Got a number of lap machines in this race. All 1 lap down. Matt McIntyre, Jessica Shelton, Dylan Young, Ryan Brommer, Michael Norman, Nick Gunther now added to that list. Jack Mitchell is 2 laps down, and Caleb Fogler is 6 laps down to the race leaders. He's got about 4 laps, and he will move to 35th, bypassing Kyler Sustre, who is out of the race along with Autumn Brooks, Cody Lamas, points leader Levi McIntyre, Keith Batson, Laura Chung, and Dylan Poteet. 9 laps to go here at the Chicago Motor Speedway. Destin Bolin looking for another good launch. Eric Monaco is on the hunt, though. He's going to immediately get to the inside of Jessica Shelton. Puts one of the lap cars in the rearview mirror. Matt McIntyre putting the pressure on Destin Bolin to try and get his lap back. And Eric Monaco is thinking, yes, yes, do that. Monaco sent it into turn 1, trying to get to the inside of Matt McIntyre. Daniel Voiles right behind him in the 3rd spot. This could be the battle for 2nd, and that's what Destin Bolin would love to see. Overdrove 3 and 4 did Monaco, and Voiles will move into the runner-up spot. Matt McIntyre going to go, takes a look to the inside at least of Destin Bolin. Nothing there. Is that Casey Hoyt coming off of pit road? Yes, it is. Casey Hoyt in the 24, we're being told, had a restart violation. Had to come down and serve a black flag penalty. It's been an adventurous day for Casey Hoyt. Didn't roll off the grid, had to toe to pit road, was able to get back out with the tail end of the field. Made his way up, I believe, into the top 30, and now this late race penalty going to have him at least the last car one lap down if he can keep Destin Bolin behind him. Right now in the 27th position is Casey Hoyt. Voiles now to the inside of Matt McIntyre. Destin Bolin looking low on Casey Hoyt. He's not going to want to spend too much time battling with that Chevrolet because Voiles is clear of the lap traffic. Eric Monaco about to be under fire from both Charles Sanford and RJ Bishop. Going to be a good three-way battle for the third spot. As Bolin not clear off of 4. Casey Hoyt trying to fight to stay on the lead lap. 4 laps to go here from Chicago. Hoyt keeping the 0-2 pinned down off of turn 2. And Daniel Voiles is closing in. Destin cannot complete the pass on Casey Hoyt, has to tuck back in line. About 4 car lengths back to Daniel Voiles and 3 laps left to go. RJ Bishop has fallen off that battle for third. It's now between Monaco and Sanford. Destin now looking to the outside of Casey Hoyt. He's got to make the pass work, though. If he doesn't, he's going to get freight trained on the bottom. That's going to open up the door for Voiles to take this lead. 2 laps to go. Bolin around the outside. Can he get the momentum off of 2? No. Hoyt will pass him back. Three car lengths going into 3. Off of 4. Still side by side between Hoyt and Bolin. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go. Here comes Voiles. Looking to snipe this victory on the last lap. Bolin moves down in front. One last shot here for Daniel Voiles. Into 3. Drives it in deep. Tries to get alongside. They're going to be side by side coming out of 4. But the momentum will be on the top. Destin Bolin is going to close it out. His 3rd win on the season. Tying Carson Gum for most in Season 8. That is a career high for the driver out of Young Motorsports. And this will undoubtedly move him up into the top 10 in the standings heading into next week at New Hampshire. What a strong performance here today by Destin Bolin. He almost threw it away battling with Casey Hoyt, but holds off Voiles to pick up his 3rd win on the season. It's the 2nd time, I believe, in his career that he's had a multi-win season here in Duracell Next Gen Cup Series. They continue to re-sign him to Young Motorsports. He continues to perform, and he is en route to career statistics here in Season 8. His 6th career victory in Duracell Next Gen Cup Series competition. Voiles will finish in 2nd, Eric Monaco in 3rd, so Blue Ovals will sweep the podium. 4 Blue Ovals inside of the top 5 with RJ Bishop in 5th. The one to break it up, the Chevrolet of Charles Sanford, who will finish in 4th. As here is a look at the finishing results. Bishop back-to-back top 5s here after his victory last week. James Quall started on the pole. Solid outing for him in 6th. Summer Henson, another driver that qualified well, finishes in 7th. Anthony McCrory, looks like those laps that he ran yesterday in the lights race, paying dividends as he'll net a top 10 in 8th spot. Benjamin Snyder, great run in 9th. And Nathan Ormond going to complete the top 10. Nathan came into this race 36th in points. He was 12 points below the 30th in standings cut line. Could we have just seen another driver, another former winner, move their way back into the top 30 in the hunt for a wild card position? Eric Sadler, he moved back in the top 10 after last week, as did Matt Haas. They both finished just outside the top 10 in 11th and 12th. Another solid outing for the rookie Kyle Langland in 13th. Daniel Bouchard, good run for that rookie as well in 14th. And Zachary Fitzwater will complete the top 15. Cole Deaver finishes 16th. Kyle Matthews, Benjamin Miles, Carson Gum, Austin LaPlante, your top 20. So Carson would have finished more than likely 27th. He worked his way up to finish 19th. So good net gain after he was able to race his way back onto the lead lap. Here you take a look at the drivers that finished off the lead lap or didn't reach the conclusion. And a lot of these drivers down here, all mechanical problems for the most part. Kyler Sustre, Levi McIntyre, Keith Batson, and Laura Chung. All mechanical failures taking them out of this race. Only Autumn Brooks, Cody Lamas, and Dylan Poteet out of the race really due to crash damage. We saw 5 cautions during the course of this race, had that long green flag run. That's why we keep coming back here in an exciting finish to close this one out. Less than a tenth of a second between Bolin and Voiles, with Bolin picking up his 3rd victory of the season. Well, the Cup Series drivers are on their own for the next couple of weeks. Next week, we'll see them at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. The following week, Donkey Kong Raceway Park. And then in 3 weeks' time, we're back with the Lights drivers doubleheader at Kentucky. But congratulations to Destin Bolin as he ties Carson Gum with a season-high 3rd win here in Season 8 of Duracell Next Gen Cup Series competition. Hope you guys enjoyed today's race here from the Chicago Motor Speedway. If you did, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, part of the crew today. We showed you full feature results. You're now looking at your point standings heading into next week from the Magic Mile. Until then, I've been Seth Cole, and you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of NNSCRA TV, offline racing at its best.
The following has been a presentation of NNSCRA TV for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the consent of the NNSCRA is prohibited. NNSCRA would like to thank all of our loyal fans, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.